Hello my gorgeous loves out there and welcome. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a good old palette ranking. I have 10 palettes here that I've tried recently that I want to give you guys like my final thoughts on. But before we get into this video, if you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Bri and I'm just a crazy lover of all things beauty. And I like to post a lot of fun, colorful makeup content. I like to do a lot on any makeup, so if that is what you're into, then please hit that subscribe button and join this little family. But with that being said, let's get into this video. We're here for another palette ranking, which I know a lot of you love a good old palette ranking. So I have 10 here. These are palettes that I tried recently in the past couple of months that I've tested out, did multiple looks with, used on camera, off camera, and I am now ready to give you guys my final thoughts. So what I do is I just rank this from like my least favorite or like on the lower part all the way up to my most favorite. Now this could be based on a bunch of different things when it comes to the ranking. It could either be quality, color story, versatility, how likely I'm going to use it, and just different factors like that. But of course, I'll let you know why each palette ranked where they did. Now, this was kind of a difficult ranking for me because the past 2 months I've tried some really beautiful high quality palettes. So I kind of struggled. There was like no duds. All of these palettes are really nice and I would recommend all of them. But before we get into this ranking, if you're curious about this eye look, which I think came out so beautiful, I used the new Under the Full Moon palette from ItsBel Cosmetics. I also have their gloss on that's in the collection. I think it's like UTMF2 is the shade. But if you want to see how I did this look, which I'm pretty sure the video will already be up before this one, I'll link it below. I'll put it up in the corner. Highly recommend you check it out and check out this collection. It's absolutely stunning. So let's get into this ranking now. So number 10, which is a very high quality palette. There's just a few reasons why this didn't rank as high as the other palettes. And it's the Mystic Garden palette from Give Me Glow, which is an amazing indie brand. I love them, but overall their palettes always tend to be on the darker side. They're either like mid-tone to deeper shades, which is great, especially if you have a deeper skin tone. But on me, that's more of like a medium to light medium. These shades like in here can't really work as inner corner highlights for me. I usually like a pastel matte or a light shimmer, but I knew that going in because their palettes tend to be like this. It's very rare that they have a shade that can be an inner corner highlight on my skin tone. So if you're really fair, their palettes are going to lean on the darker side, which is totally fine. And I knew that going in. So with this palette, I do have to pull in other palettes to feel like I can do completed looks for my style of doing makeup. So it's more like kind of a companion palette. But I think the color story is absolutely stunning. High quality mattes, beautiful metallics, and they're very creamy, smooth, and foiled. The only thing is Give Me Glow doesn't tend to do very like shifty metallics. They don't really have like dual chromes that often in their palettes or holochromes, and that's the kind of shades I like, the very interesting, shifty, really intense sparkly shades. These are more of those smooth, foiled, traditional metallics, which there's a lot of people that would prefer that because they're not really going to enhance texture, and you know, they're just easy and smooth to apply. You know, usually those more special shades can be more flaky, have more fallout, but that's just my personal preference when it comes to metallics. So their metallics don't excite me as much as like other palettes from other indie brands do. So then the next palette in the ranking, which is number 9, and I feel weird putting this down in like a lower spot on a ranking, but there was just so many special, phenomenal palettes that I tried these past couple months. But this is the Unearthly Cosmetics Sorcery Smoke palette. It's gorgeous. It's like a nudie palette with a twist. You got some muted grunge shades in here. You got cool tones. You have these beautiful sparkling metallics, these amazing mattes. Like Unearthly has this such a high quality formula, and this is definitely my version of what I like when it comes to a more toned down nude palette because it still has some color in it. Now, I am mostly a color lover. That's what I gravitate towards. So usually more colorful palettes are going to end up ranking higher than a more muted nudie palette. But when I'm in that nudie muted mode, I would totally reach for this. And I love that it has a grungy twist. You can get smoky with it. it's just a beautiful color story, and it's really high quality. So this is great for my girlies looking for a more muted, nudie, smoky kind of palette. This is perfect, and the metallics are so sparkly and intense and so good from Unearthly. Just there's more colorful options you're about to see. Now getting into the number 8 spot. This is from Glaminatrix. This is the Rich Romantic palette, which is one of those nudie palettes with the twist. You got some color in here, some berries, some muted tones. And when I was looking at this, I realized that there's some similarities with this palette and the Sorcerer Smoke palette. It has like some grungy kind of browns. Like this there's like a peachy shade that this kind of has, like a peachy pink. And I was like, oh, okay, there's some similarities. I don't know if you can tell, but there is similarities, but I just like this a little bit more. Like I really, really love the metallics in here. They're super shifty and foiled, and like just an extra notch of sparkliness from these metallics versus this one, which is hard to do because Unearthly has really good metallics. But I think this is very romantic. I love the berry tones in here, but you have the nudie tones. You can go like bold and berry, or you can go nice and nude. You can go a little lighter with some of the pinks. So I think that this has a lot of variety for being a little bit more on the softer side with a little smokiness. Now going on to number 7, which is a smaller curated palette, which is surprising that this would be a little higher than some bigger palettes that have more color options. But this is the Wicked Widow Beauty Lovesick palette. This is so dang cute. Such a fun little color story. The quality is so good from Wicked Widow Beauty. Like they have such pigmented, buttery blendable mattes, and then these really foiled, intense, shifty metallics that are just gorgeous. And they're always so good at doing like more curated color stories. They pick the like perfect combo, and for being only 8 shades, you can do quite a bit with this palette. You can go pinky, you can go kind of pastel, you can go in like these rosy brown shades. You have this beautiful kind of bluish purple up here, this fun little pink. I think this has like a blue shift, and then you have like this deeper metallic that has like purple to it. It's just such pretty colors, and I just ranked this up higher because they did a curated palette so well, and to have this much versatility with an only 8-pan palette with this high of quality just really impressed me. I just love Wicked Widow, and Wicked Widow's Resurrection palette was number 1 on my ranking for all the palettes that I tried in 2023, which was 66 palettes, and it was number 1. Like that's how good their formula is, and they just make phenomenal color stories. Now going on to number 6 in the ranking, which is from Unearthly Cosmetics. This is the Fall Magic palette. Now this is a grungy dream. It has just the most beautiful tones in here, and I am a sucker for a grungy palette. You got smoky shades, mid-tones, these like pukey kind of greens. I don't know why they get me, but they do. They just make me so happy. Then you have some lighter metallics for inner corner highlights. You have darker metallics. You just have everything you need to make the perfect grungy looks. So beautiful. And then you have some berry tones. It's just, oh, it's so scrumptious. It's so good and high quality. And that is why it ranked higher than some of the other palettes, because this is like the perfect grunge palette. If you're looking for colorful grunge, this is it. Okay, this is fall in a palette. So I highly, highly recommend this one right here. Now let's get into number 5 in the ranking, which is the New Zealand Stargazing palette. This is from Nomad Cosmetics. It's such a beautiful theme and color story. Like, look at this. It's so pretty, and it's just such a fun color story. We got some jewel tones in here, some warm peachy tones, and then these cool tones, and all the metallics that are in here are multi-chromes. They're creamy, smooth, and very shifty. Like the shifts are strong on these, and they're just so high quality. And to get all multi-chromes in a palette, and I think this is in what, the 62, maybe 59 price range, which is pretty dang good for this high quality of multi-chromes in here. And then you have these beautiful pigmented mattes, you have a depth, you have mid-tones, you have beautiful shades to work as inner corner highlights. And I just think this is a really beautiful, cohesive color story. And I feel like you get a lot with this palette, and you don't have to pay such a hefty price tag like other indie brands charge for having like this many multi-chromes within a palette and then these amazing mattes. So highly recommend this one from Nomad Cosmetics. Now going into number 4 in the ranking, which is from Unearthly Cosmetics, and this is gorgeous. This is the Dreamer palette. This is a dream. Look at these tones. It is, I would say, more on the muted kind of berry end, but you have smoky shades, you have mauves, you have some gray tones, you have a little bit of nudie shades up here, but the quality, excellent. Beautiful, sparkly, foiled metallics, gorgeous, pigmented mattes. Oh my god, I just love the looks I was able to create with this, and I love me my cool tones. Like, I usually gravitate to cool tones, shades more than warm tones, so this really speaks to me, and I like that it's a little bit muted, but you have all these gorgeous romantic shades. Definitely gives me like date night vibes, Valentine's Day vibes. I mentioned this in my like favorite palettes for Valentine's Day if you want to check that out. I know Valentine's Day passed, but if you're into those kind of color stories, I'll link it below. I'll put it up in the corner, but I was really impressed by this. I really like Unearthly, and I think some of these have shifts. Then they have this Dream State shade, which is a holographic shade, and I'm just so into hollow chrome kind of metallics now with like the multicolor shimmers. They just do something for me. They just amp a look. It elevates things. It just adds more interest. So I love that they included that one as well in here, and then paired it with these other beautiful metallics. Like, if you like these kind of like berry cool tone color stories, this is the one for you. This is so good. Hello my loves, it is Feature Brie. I was editing this video and realized I forgot to include a palette in this ranking, which I seem to do quite often. So I am going to insert it here and now, but this is number 3 in the ranking. This is the Beaute Bar palette. This is the Bejeweled palette that I think was their holiday release last year. And this is full of these gorgeous saturated jewel tones. There's these amazing pigmented mattes that are so beautiful. Some are so smoky and just really rich with the pigmentation. And then all the metallics are either like multi-chromes, dual chromes, or some really smooth foiled metallics. And I really love this. I like color. I like smoky color as well. So this really speaks to me. Now overall, it's a darker palette. I have to bring in like a highlighter or another palette with some lighter shades to really do a inner corner highlight. I like a pop. But because I love these colors, these tones, and the formula so much, I'm ranking it pretty high up there, even though I have to pull in other things. And this is kind of technically more of a companion palette for me, but I just love these tones. I love the formula, and I think it's amazing. It's such a nice one from Beaute Bar. They make really high quality eyeshadows. Now they are on the pricier side than some other like indie brands, but they do include like some really special shimmers. They make some really interesting color stories. I feel like they're a pretty unique, innovative brand as well. So I just wanted to make sure I included this in the ranking. But now let's get back to Past Brie. Now going on to number 2 in the ranking. This palette really impressed me, and this is my first introduction into this brand, but it's the Touch of Glam. There's been a Hollow Misunderstanding palette. This was their holiday palette from last year, and I'm telling you guys, the formula from them is so special. They have something different. I don't think I've ever like came across these kind of shades in other indie brands. Like, there's something different to their metallics as well as their mattes. Like, their mattes are so buttery and creamy and blendable and pigmented, and I was like, I need more of their mattes, and I'm a metallic girly, so for me to want more mattes from a brand means the mattes are probably top notch. And then this is full of shifty metallics. Some are like these intense holochromes, and they're so beautiful. Like, oh, I'm just like blown away by these metallics, and I love me my holochromes. I love shifty, intense metallics. I'll just have to swatch some of them. Like this deep, dark, mysterious one is like an antique bronzy shade to an olive, and then you have this gorgeous sleepy hollow green, and then you even have some smoother ones, but they're still intense and very foiled. I just have to show you guys. Like, look. Oh my gosh, like the camera doesn't even do these shades justice. They're just so, they're so special. Like, look at that. They're doing something with their metallics. They have all these different like types of holochromes, all these different types of multi-chromes and dual chromes. There's a lot of different formulas that are in the brand, so I definitely recommend checking them out. Maybe pick up a couple of singles from them. They're mainly known for singles, but I'm hoping that they're going to come out with more like completed palettes, because that's what I prefer, and I hope that they come out with a palette that has more mattes in it, because these mattes, they're next level. Look at that. Look at that matte. I just had to swatch a matte. I didn't even have to try. Look at that color payoff. Oh, I could go on and on about this palette. It's so good. There's something special with Touch of Glam. I highly recommend checking them out if you haven't, because I've been sleeping on this brand. So I'm so happy I finally gave them a try. Now going on to number 1 in the ranking, which is a absolute dream. It's magical, and it is the most gorgeous color story. It is the Lands of Enchantment palette from Ensley. If you guys have been watching me for some time now, you know I am a fan of Ensley Cosmetics. They make the most magical color stories. They're also really good at making all these beautiful intense metallics, and they've improved their matte formula. Like, their mattes are so good now. But here's the color story. Look at that. There's pastels in here. There's jewel tones in here. They have holochrome shades in here, multi-chromes, dual chromes. You have light shades for inner corner. You have deep shades for making things a little smoky. Like, this is so enchanting. It matches the theme of the palette. It's so pretty and impressive, and I love that there's just so many options. And there's so much to choose from. You can do so many different looks with this. You have all these different beautiful formulas within here. The mattes, the metallics, everything is special about this palette. Like, they just make some of the most beautiful color stories. Now, they're definitely more of a pricier brand because they make all these special shades, and their palettes tend to be big. But for me, I love that. It's worth every single penny to me because of what you get and the quality you get, the color stories, the packaging, the theme. Like, this is just a very magical brand. I love everything that they come out with. I love the themes. This brand is just so good. Like, they are doing so many good things, and I'm so excited to see what else this brand will come out with. I know that they have like the Groovy Moon palette coming out. I mean, they have so many good ones, and I do hope that they make some more palettes with even more mattes and maybe make some smaller curated color stories to definitely help make the brand more accessible to more people. I feel like if they did smaller palettes and kind of lower the price, it would get more people to try their brand and get an introduction into their formula. But they also sell singles, so if you picked up a couple singles just because you want to try out what their formula is like, I don't think you'll be disappointed, because that's how good their shadows are. But that was the ranking. All 10 palettes that I've tried recently. I love all of them. I'm gonna be honest. They're all good palettes, all high quality, no issues there. And all the color stories are really beautiful. I mean, obviously I thought they were beautiful enough to want to purchase and spend my money, and I've enjoyed playing with all of them. They're all good. So you guys want to have to let me know, what are your thoughts in the comments below? Would you have ranked these palettes differently? Have you tried any of these palettes? I would love to hear from all of y'all. And if you're new here and you enjoy this video, you like a lot of fun, colorful makeup content, you like a lot on indie makeup, then please hit that subscribe button and join this little family. Also, don't forget to check out the description below. I will have all the palettes linked, all the videos that I've done on each of these palettes if you want to see looks and get more info about each individual palette. Definitely check those out. I will also have my makeup linked. Like I said, I did film this look with the ItsBel Cosmetics Under the Full Moon palette. If you want to see how I created this, definitely check out that video. It will be linked as well. And I will have my contact and my social media platforms. I'm on Instagram as Brici Lifestyle and Brici_beauty. So if you want to join my Instagram fam, I would really love that. But guys, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, for being here, being amazing. I just appreciate you guys all so much, and I just hope all of you are doing well wherever you're in the world, and just send you guys so much light and love. But until next time, bye guys.